The day has come. We finally get to paint the boat today, or start painting the boat today. It's going to take us about 3 days to do the whole thing. But we feel extremely lucky again to have All Grip and Interlux supporting our channel and providing all the paint for our boat. Today we get to spray on the top coat, which is an Allcraft 2000. It's vanilla white, and we're flattening it to a matte finish. And so we're going to be adding a lot of this flattening agent to the paint. These are the 4 products that we'll be mixing together to make the top coat. Got to get like 2, maybe 3 coats on today. We'll see how well it covers. And today, what we're doing is just doing the rooms, essentially. So the stateroom, the head, and the quarterberths. And tomorrow, we'll get to the rest of the boat.
So I'm tacking down, or prepping these surfaces for the final coat of paint with a tack cloth. And they're kind of sticky, and they have many layers, so it picks up a lot of the dust and particulates and stuff.
Boo! Did I scare you?
You got me. I gotta go turn the compressor on. But before we start, I gotta get the compressor going. It's loud. Paint, 2 parts flattener, 1 part converter, 1.5 parts thinner, reducer. Go ahead and take that up to the cockpit. So let's keep an eye on the time so we can see how long this takes us.
Before I start painting the boat, here I'm adjusting the gun to make sure that the fan is the right height and there's not too much or too little fluid coming out. Having good light is essential, especially since I'm basically painting white paint on top of white primer. It's hard to see what I'm doing, so I had Cormac follow me around with a big light.
There we go.
Here we're painting the starboard quarter berth, or the kids' room. This is definitely the most difficult room to paint with so many weird angles and surfaces.
So you guys are breaking for lunch, but can you tell us really quick how it went so far?
I think it went good so far. Just one coat on. We're gonna get at least 2 on, if not 3. So, yeah, so far so good.
Is he just grinning at you, Cormac?
Yeah.
He's like, Cormac, aren't you jealous of my sweet smooth?
All right, the first coat went on really well. Cormac just mixed up the second batch, and so we're gonna go up and put coat number 2 on.
So given some of the challenges you had when you put the primer on the interior, how confident were you going into this top coat?
I would say I was probably in 7 out of 10 confident. I was a bit overconfident when I put the primer on, and I didn't have the gun set up properly, and I learned a lot. And then I also got a lot of suggestions in the comments that I should be practicing and watching YouTube videos, doing as much research as I can. And I did that. I saw some really great YouTube videos, especially car painters that are using the same gun as I am, which was super helpful. And I did a bunch of practice shooting, making sure that my gun was set up correctly, and that all helped a lot. And so I was cautiously confident going into putting the top coat on. Here I'm applying the 3rd coat of paint to the stateroom. We decided to do 3 coats because it was recommended to us, 1, but also it provided really good coverage, so none of the substrate could be seen.
We're just, this is day 2. We're wiping with the tack cloths just to get a little extra dirt off the surfaces, extra crumbs and stuff. So we're going to be painting the main salon today. Be a big change in the boat. Set up the one that's forward in the head. We gotta stretch the cord up to the hole in the deck where the mast comes through so that we can plug it in after we're done without going into the boat. Yep. And we need to make sure we turn on all the fans. And should be ready to go. This is day 2. I got our first batch of paint mixed. We're gonna paint the rest of the boat. Yesterday we got the rooms. Today we're gonna get the salon and the galley and the doghouse done. And the bilge, most of the bilge anyway. So yeah, it'll be another long day, but excited to see how it looks. Yesterday's paint job turned out really, really nice. So gonna try and keep that going.
So today, instead of light management, you're going to be on hose management. So just keeping the hose out of the paint. You ready? Yeah. All right.
We are painting probably 90% of the interior with the Allcraft 2000 top coat, including the bilge. We could have used Interlux brand bilge coat or something similar, but then we would have had to mask and paint the bilge separately from the rest, and I would have had to sand between coats. This way, I can essentially paint the entire boat, including the bilges, all in one shot.
So, for our viewers who may not know, there's 2 ways to paint a boat. You can buy a sprayer, which requires a compressor, or you can roll and tip. So, about a year ago, you were really debating which you wanted to do, and in the end, you decided to buy a sprayer and a compressor, which was a big expense. So, now that you've primed the exterior and painted the interior, was it worth it?
Yeah, I think so. I actually have even less experience rolling and tipping than I do spraying. But you know, as I was going through the boat, spraying it, it was going really fast, and I was imagining doing the same job rolling and tipping, and I think it would have driven me a bit crazy. And yeah, I think it was absolutely worth the expense, especially for the exterior of the boat. It will be very handy to have that spraying set up. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the whole thing. I wish I had gotten a bigger compressor, a more powerful compressor.
It was more expensive, so you went for the cheapest.
I know, I
was
being a cheapo. I should have spent the extra like $300 or $400 to get the next step. But the one I have is working fine. So for this project, I used about 14 gallons of Interlux's 860 primer. probably 5 gallons of all fair fairing compound, and 3.5 gallons of paint plus 3.5 gallons of flattener, so about 7 gallons of paint. And it took Cormac and I probably 300 hours from initial prep at the beginning to final top coat.
So Cormac and I finished painting this afternoon. We're gonna put some heat inside the boat and let it dry for probably 24 hours before we go and take a look at how it looks. I think it went really well, but we won't know until we actually go in and see the finished product. But I thought it'd be a good time to do kind of a post-mortem and after the fact, just in retrospect, what I would have done a bit differently, kind of going over the entire like roughing out to painting side of the project. And a lot of things that I did early on in the project became clear why that could have been a problem later on when I was painting. For instance, I built a lot of my own panels that ended up being walls, bulkheads, all that kind of stuff. And there were a lot of those panels had an A side and a B side. Poor Alder is sick. A lot of those panels had an A side and a B side. And what I mean by that is that one side was a lot flatter, a lot less pinholey than another side. Usually the side that was against the table when I vacuum bagged them had a better surface than the other side. Evan is probably also laughing right now because he told me very early on one thing I could do is use a veil of matte fiberglass over top of the biax in order to kind of seal the biax, because that biax creates a lot of pinholes and stuff. Anyway, I should have been more cognizant of the sides that I was using, sides that were showing in different places. Where I wanted to be a better finish, I should have had, the A side be on that outside, if you see what I'm saying. I should have used a lot more product. Like I should have used a lot more fairing when I went in to start fairing and stuff. I was being skimpy and I was trying to make it faster, but that did not help. That actually made it slower because I had to go back and keep doing it over and over again. Another one is I wish I had faired and finished every section of the boat as I went along. Like when I finished the stateroom, I should have gone through and pretty much gotten it all the way to painting, and then moved on to the head and gotten that all the way painted, and then moved on to like the quarter birds and gotten those all the way through to painting, so that I didn't have to do all of these all at once. I could come up with many, many more things like this. As it became clear from the last episode, I should have practiced a lot more with my gun. So, because when I went through with the primer and putting primer on the boat, it was very messy. But overall, I'm very happy with how it's turned out. Tomorrow we'll really see how it's turned out once we go in and take a look inside the boat. So that's my post-mortem for what it's worth. Yesterday we got the rest of the interior of the boat painted. Today I get to show off my work to Dave. We'll get the approval or disapproval.
Wow, this looks really, really good, Matt.
Thank you.
I like everything I'm seeing. The sheen looks really nice. I don't see any streaks or anything. Sometimes, we can get a little streaky looking with glossy and non-glossy. I don't see any runs. I love the color. The most important thing is that it meets your expectations and fits your needs and the lifestyle. And did we achieve that?
I think so. I love it. I mean, I love the color, and the flat finish is really softens it so much that it feels really nice in here, and it's like not overwhelming, I guess, with gloss.
Yeah. Well, and with this living area up here and the large windows that you put in, it's really going to cut down on the glare on the interior.
Totally.
So I'm not burning my retinas as I'm sailing across some beautiful South Pacific ocean. But no, you did a fantastic job. It looks really, really great. I couldn't be happier from my end, that's for sure.
And Dave, you're not just saying that because you're on camera,
No,
of course.
no. This is it's a great representation of our what our products can do.
What do you think?
Who, me?
Yes.
I absolutely love it. I think you did a beautiful job, honey. You worked so hard. You worked your butt off for weeks.
Yeah.
And it shows. It's going to be, I can see our home taking shape.
Yeah.
I can see like green cushions maybe
Yep.
and tasteful wood trim. It's going to be a beautiful home for us.
I agree.
We want to say a huge thank you to Interlux and All Grip for their support. Dave has been extremely helpful advising us in every step, and I can't recommend these products enough. Just for fun, here's some clips from a tour we did of the interior when we first got the boat, and some clips of the interior now. Temporary floorboards installed and masking tape removed.
So the boat is in our backyard, more or less. This is what we call the doghouse. But this is like where they pretty much lived while they were racing the boat offshore. Back here is the engine room right now. All this is gonna get changed. Get all the way in there. The galley was right here. Just a little sink, and there was a little gimbaled stove there. There's a microwave. So in heavy going, when it's really windy, you can fill these up with water just to add ballast to oppose your sailing rig. The nice thing about a project like this is that it's kind of a clean slate. There's no interior to tear out of the boat. We pretty much start with a finished hull with a deck on it. And so all of this will come out, including the doghouse will come off, the pod will come out, we'll move the bulkheads, we'll be cutting down the water ballast tanks, and we'll be building an interior. So everything is getting taken off.
I have to admit that I'm reveling a bit in being done with this big interior painting project. A few days have gone by now since we finished, and every time I step in the boat, I do feel a sense of accomplishment. It marks a really big milestone in this project. It's the end of an era and the beginning of a new one.